Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first AMN live event. We are so excited to be spending the next 30 minutes with you answering all kinds of good questions that you've sent in. My name is Saundra. I am a senior director for our travel nurse division. And you'll see I have some amazing guests with me here that'll be introducing themselves in just a minute. I think we also have one of our incredible travel nurses joining us to answer a lot of the questions that you have sent us and will hopefully continue to send. Before we get started, I just want to thank all of you, our incredible nurses and clinicians, for everything that you do. Whether you travel with AMN or not, we're so appreciative for everything that you've done over the past 2 years. Incredibly, this week was kind of our last normal week that we had prior to jumping into this crazy pandemic world that we've been in for the last 2 years. I know all of our lives have just changed incredibly. Some for the good and some for the worse, but we're really just so happy to spend this time to appreciate you. We're so thankful for everything that you do, and we're excited to provide a new platform to be able to answer all the questions that you have when it comes to travel nursing and what to expect, questions to ask, all of that good stuff. So thank you, thank you. We're excited to continue this series as we go on. I know we have a ton to get to in our 30 minutes together, so I'm actually going to stop talking and introduce our amazing two ladies that we have here. Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name's Erin Gingrey. I'm a manager of recruitment here at AMN. I've been in the industry for close to a decade now, but with AMN for the last 3 years. I have a beautiful 1.5-year-old daughter who keeps me on my toes, and I actually also have two fur babies, French bulldogs, that are actually a little bit more needier than my children or my child. So if you hear them, that's who they are, my two French bulldogs. And it's nice to meet everyone.
I love it. Thanks, Erin. Allison,
Yeah.
let's go over to you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I am Allison Chen. I am a senior director on the account management team. I oversee Kaiser Permanente and 3 of the 9 regions. So I oversee Kaiser Northern California, Kaiser Northwest, which is primarily Oregon, and Kaiser Washington. I'm also a mom of 3 daughters who play softball. So on the weekends, you can find me out on the softball field with my mom visor on and my girls' numbers on my shirt.
I love it. Get a little bit of sun, hopefully, when you're out there on the softball field, right?
Yes.
And I'm hearing that we actually have one of our travel nurses, Jerome, who's ready to join us too. So hello, Jerome. It's nice to see you. And I think, Jerome, you're muted. Jerome's just coming off of a night shift. So thank you for joining us. We're so happy to have you.
Definitely. Good morning. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Well, we're already getting questions in the chat, which is awesome. So thank you for all of that. I will say that we are going to do a couple of fun things too. We have some giveaways. We're going to kick it off with the first 5 people, which we may almost be there. First 5 people to ask questions in the chat will actually get a white noise machine and a travel planner. So all the things that you need to help you on your trip. Just comment in the chat and we will answer the questions as they're coming in. So I'll go ahead and kind of kick us off, Jerome, just asking you a question. We have a lot of new travelers, maybe a lot of people who are looking to travel. What do you think is the biggest thing that you could tell yourself if you could take a step back to the very first time you were looking at a travel contract? What would you say? Oh, and Jerome might be having
a little technical. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oof. Cannot hear you guys.
Maybe Elaine, we can drop Jerome. Drop Jerome. Oh, you good? Okay, cool. All right, we'll get Jerome back up here. Can you hear us now?
Wow.
That's okay. We'll drop Jerome down for right now. We'll work on that technical stuff, and we'll actually jump right into the questions that we've got. So thank you for those. Ramona Edwards, what do we do if our license is not accepted by a particular state? Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about how travel nurse licensing works?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So if you're looking for a particular location and it's not a license you currently hold, depending on the state, we'd have to take a look at how long it's actually going to take for you to get that license before deciding if that's a state we could actually submit your file over to. Every state's going to have a different length of time that it's going to be required to get that license. So depending on the state's requirements would really dictate if we're able to submit you to that location. if you're a compact license, the great news is there's multiple states that you have access to on that compact license. But again, it really just depends on where it is you're looking to go and how long it would take to get that licensure. Some states do still currently have an emergency license in place. However, we are seeing that those are starting to come to an end. So we are really encouraging nurses to apply for the locations that they're looking to go to so that they have that license ready to go.
Yeah. And that's such a great call, right, Erin? We want to start thinking of normalization a little bit, which Allison, I know you're going to talk to us a bit from the client side, what normalization looks like. It's something we're starting to hear in the travel nursing world. Before we go there, though, let's talk about some of these other questions we've got. So East Side price, how does housing and transportation work when you travel out of your state? Erin, I'm going to go back to you.
Yes. So with housing, you have a couple of options. You do have the option to take the subsidy amount, which would allow for you to find your own housing. We do provide, or at least I know that my team provides resources as far as like different links. However, it's really the traveler's responsibility at that point, if they've taken the subsidy, to find it on their own. We do have the option for you to select AMN provided housing, in which case then we would remove the subsidy portion of your pay and then take on the ownership of finding you a house. We do have a housing department that would go ahead and do that search, and we would get you information prior to you starting. We do take in your needs as far as if you have pets you're traveling with, because we know a lot of travelers don't want to travel alone. So if you do have pets, we will take that into consideration. If there's certain levels that you'd like to stay on, I mean, we take all of that into consideration there. I would say that the majority of the travelers do prefer taking the subsidy just because it allows for them to have a little bit more control on what they're spending their money on. But you do have both options provided to you. With regards to travel, same kind of concept. We do provide mileage reimbursement. So you have the option of either driving to a location or flying. Most travelers do like to have their vehicle available to them so they can explore on their days off. But with regards to that, we would set in some type of reimbursement into your pay package, which you would then fill out a mileage form and we can get that put back into your pay.
Yeah.
But it is really truly up to you.
And I think that's such a huge point, right, Erin, that it really is up to our travelers to let us know what's really important to them. So is taking off that piece of having to find your own housing and having to worry about maybe someplace you've never traveled to before, we can take that off of you. So we really work to make sure our clinicians have a package that makes sense for them. We look at all of you as individual people who have different needs. I know if I asked Erin to travel, she would probably take both of her dogs and we'd have to go find something for her. I think most days she would take her daughter, but maybe not every day.
No, but I personally would prefer to have my vehicle. I know the excitement of traveling is to get to explore these different locations, and I'm very much an independent person. I like to have my vehicle, so I would always encourage that. But yeah, if finding housing is going to be an inconvenience, we want to make it the best experience possible for you and give you all options. So it's really up to you.
I love it. Yeah, totally. And I'm hearing that it sounds like Jerome can hear us now. So hopefully we can bring Jerome back up from the backstage. Jerome, all good?
All good.
Yay! It's not a live event without some kind of technical issue.
I know, right?
Well, welcome, Jerome. We are super excited to have you. We were kind of talking a little bit about the back end elements of travel nursing, but I would love for you to talk a little bit about what you think maybe some of the most important parts of taking that first travel assignment, or maybe even future travel assignments. What are some of those really important things that clinicians should know?
I mean, as far as taking first time assignments, I mean, there's always that new, oh my God, I'm going to leave the comfort of my own home, as far as you feeling grounded, as where you've been comfortable as a nurse. But I mean, taking that initial step is just the most important thing. And it's just to reassure you that don't be scared. It's once you get out there, you realize how much you would love it and how much you're going to learn. And it's kind of just the point of what you're going to learn that's going to be new, but just the overall satisfaction of getting out there and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, totally.
It's almost the fear of the unknown, but it's the best thing I've ever done.
100%. And I'm sure that if you could talk to your previous self and say, hey, it's going to be okay, I promise. It seems scary right now, but take the jump, right?
Best thing I ever did.
I love it.
I've been traveling for 7 years.
I was going to say, how long have you been traveling and how many assignments do you think you've taken?
I've been traveling for 7 years, and obviously, I've been very fortunate as far as haven't had to jump around from assignment to assignment, from institution to institution quite frequently. I mean, your work usually speaks for itself. Longest assignment I've been on in one hospital was 2.5 years straight. So I mean,
Wow.
obviously, if you get out there and you put your best foot forward, which expect nothing more from anyone, these hospitals want to keep you over and over. And the company, it's very appreciative in the sense of the harder you work, the more rewards you get. And something that American Mobile has, the My Time bonus, which is a great plus for just putting in that extra work. It's very rewarding.
We want to
So
reward
you
you
feel
in
very
all the ways
appreciated.
you can, right? Yeah, good. I
Definitely.
love hearing that you feel appreciated. And the monetary piece of it is huge, but then also in hopefully some of the other things that we can provide our clinicians, like our employee assistance programs with just your mental health. Jerome, I'm sure you can talk about, especially the last 2 years, just the toll that it's taken on your mental health and just your, kind of overall ability to move forward.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of pros. I mean, just where you think you haven't been able to grow in life, I mean, it does give you that extra edge that will definitely carry over into your personal life. So, um, just the overall feeling of independency. These are all a lot of factors that will go ahead and pretty much, I would say, help your overall self-esteem as an individual, right?
Yeah.
So, and also being able to somewhat figure out things on your own. And you're not really figuring out things on your own with AMN. I mean, the support systems are there. So there's always someone that's one phone call away. I mean, from the educational team, from credentialing analysts, everyone's there to support you. I mean, it's overwhelming when it comes to support. So you're not out there you're not on
You're
your
not
own.
by yourself.
Definitely.
You're not by yourself. I love it. Thanks for that, Jerome. Well, we do have a ton of questions coming in, which is great. So Emily hasn't worked in the hospital for almost 3 years, but continuously worked in psych. We do have a lot of psych positions. It's actually one of the areas that we're seeing an increase in. Allison, I don't know from the client side if you have anything that you might want to add to that piece.
Sure. I mean, just in terms of Kaiser, we do have psych needs in Northern California. It's great to hear that we have travelers engaged that might want to work those. So, I'll take a look. I'll stay connected with Erin and Saundra, but, drop your name, or if you already have an AMN recruiter, please reach out. You can share my name. I'm Allison Chen. I'm assigned to the Kaiser program, but psych nurses are rare and so, difficult to find, but Kaiser definitely needs them. So thank you for raising your hand.
I love it. So definitely psych positions is what we're hearing. Trisha wants to know the ins and outs of local traveler. Basically, it's an entire package change, Trisha. One of our recruiters would be more than happy to walk through step by step, but we do change from that tax-free benefit that you get as a true traveler to just different elements to your pay package, including a car allowance and a meal allowance, as well as your hourly rate. So definitely reach out to one of our recruiters if you're interested. Hi, Elsie. Good to see you. How is AMN and Onward associated? So AMN is our parent company, and then American Mobile and Onward are our two travel nursing brands. So we are one and the same. Our recruiters do work independently of one another. So if you're working with an American Mobile recruiter, you may also have an Onward recruiter just to give you that additional pair of eyes to look for that perfect assignment for you. We do have strike nursing opportunities, Mr. and Mrs. Nobles. That is our HSG, our Health Source Global brand. And we do, not frequently, but we do have strike opportunities that are available. From Montgomery, would a nurse be able to travel with a misdemeanor? Never been in any other trouble, but I think it just really depends. We have to look at it. If there are specific questions, our clinical team, to Jerome's point, somebody who also supports us, can look at that and review, and then they make that decision moving forward. Canadian nurses, we've got all kinds of Canadian nurses. Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about our Canadian travelers?
Yeah, Canadian travelers are welcome. There's extra steps, of course, that we need to make sure that you have. If you are coming straight from Canada, you would need to make sure you pass the NCLEX. We would need to make sure you have a social. There is a list of items that we would need. I would have to pull it up because I actually don't have them memorized right now, but we do work with Canadian nurses. In fact, they're some of our favorite. I know a lot of my recruiters and myself have had them, and we do have a team of experts that can really make sure we customize what you're going to need for your journey over to the States.
I love it. Thanks, Erin. So yes, reach out for more info, but we do work with Canadian travelers. Ramona, do you have non-hospital contracts? We do. We do some home health, and we are seeing a little bit of an increase in it. So we definitely have that. What is the benefit of applying for an exclusive job offer? Allison, this seems like a perfect question for you to answer. Why should they apply for exclusive positions?
I'm sorry, I can't hear that. I just had a little bit of blip with my internet. Can you repeat the question?
No, that's okay. The question is why, or what's the benefit of applying to an exclusive position? So I know that's right up your alley with one of our biggest exclusives.
Yeah, so I think with Kaiser, the opportunity to apply for an exclusive position really is that Kaiser is such a big organization and there's so much opportunity there. And, you know, in some regards, the requirements could be a little bit more arduous in terms of credentialing or specific licensing requirements, especially if you're like an OR nurse or a real specific skill set in one of the units like Kaiser Santa Clara, who their operations are a little bit different. And they're more like a magnet hospital than the other Northern California hospitals. So, you know, I think working kind of what Jerome said, working alongside Kaiser nurse leaders and really learning the nurse to patient ratio at Kaiser facilities is lower than at other California facilities. So that's another benefit. I just think I've had the pleasure and opportunity to connect with several Kaiser travelers, and you know their experience has been good. I think Kaiser provides a lot of support. I think that there's a lot of the traveler program has been stood up for over 10 years. So we've learned a lot over that time and we take feedback seriously. And especially in Northern California, they really want to make the traveler experience better because we need you. Kaiser needs you. AMN needs you. And there's a lot of opportunity to grow and advance your career professionally. I think Kaiser is very invested in growing our travelers and giving them the experiences, the professional experiences that will advance their careers. So really, I could go on and on, Saundra, but I just know that Kaiser is such an advocate for our travelers and really wants to embrace them and grow them.
And I see, Jerome, you're shaking your head a lot with it. Anything to add?
So Allison, so I'm actually interesting. I stepped out on my shell from the last assignment that I had that I was comfortable there for 2.5 years. So I'm actually at Kaiser Preparamante. I'm at the NorCal location in Santa Clara. Okay. Definitely an eye-opening experience for me. But I mean, it's been awesome. So I'm in the CVICU there.
Oh my gosh, Jerome. Wow.
Yes. So these standards are high, but I will tell you, once you that bar is set at that level, I mean, that's the level you perform, and it's quite impressive. So I mean, from CVICU, I mean, you're practically utilized throughout the whole institution anywhere. So I just to agree with you, Allison, definitely all the support systems there from just on even the American Mobile side, but from the clinical staff and all the leadership in the hospital. I mean, it's overwhelming from manager support to charge nurse support to, I mean, you got it. And it's not like you have to reach out to them. They're the ones reaching out to you, educators, everyone's on top of it. I will say that the one thing, and like more like an assignment like this has taught me is that every hospital is different in the way they want things done. So, I mean, there's so many ways to get to that end result. But like I said, a hospital like Kaiser Preparamante, they're going to tell you exactly how they want certain things documented, whether it be, hey, these are the things that are necessary. We need to document teeth washing or, M-Care wipes for Foley care. So these specifics will be relayed to you so you're not on your own and you don't feel lost.
I love that. such a great connect here that I don't think we were aware of prior to this call. So thank you for that. I'll kind of also add with just overall exclusives. We have a lot of facilities that we work with that are exclusive to AMN. One of the big things that I'll say, and maybe Erin, if you have anything to add, the process moves a lot faster and we have a better understanding of what's going on with the hospital. So what their staffing needs look like. We can get interviews done quickly. Erin, anything that you would add?
You basically said what I was going to say. I think the biggest takeaway would be that is where we know where we can get you offers fast, as opposed to perhaps going through a third party. We're eliminating the middleman, so we do have a lot more communication, feedback, dialogue between us and account management. So if we're looking to get you placed somewhere pretty fast, if you're looking for a quicker start date, having those exclusives is going to really help, advance that for our travelers.
Yeah, love it.
I'll layer in here too. I think oftentimes, especially kind of in the transitional market that we're in, that last minute needs come up or a cancellation. And so like I'm on the phone with Erin and Saundra, on 3:00 on a Thursday afternoon, trying to, help the client to get them the fill that they need. And so to Erin's point, like sometimes it's just me picking up the phone and calling her and us having a quick conversation. And then whatever travelers her and her team have that are looking for a quick start, right? That's kind of where that speed to market component and benefit of working with AMN and our exclusive accounts. That's one of the many benefits.
Yeah, I love that. Great layer in there, Allison. So I think one of the questions was what specialty are you, Jerome? I think you answered that question, CVICU.
So funny thing is, I'm CVICU here in this assignment, and I mean, it's been great. I mean, just the experience of continuous, I get ECMO patients back to back. I mean, talk about taking my experience to like the next level. I mean, it's continuous because they have that flow there. And like Allison said, the ratio is 1-to-1 on all devices, whether it be Impella, whether it be LVAD, balloon pump, every device patient, you're 1-to-1. So, I mean, you definitely are able to give these patients the best quality care you can possibly give them. But I'm actually CVICU and ER is my backing. That's my foundation. I'm primarily cath lab and neurointerventional radiology nurse. So
Jerome's running all over the hospital.
Yeah.
He's going to run the hospital pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, I was averaging about 110 hours in my last assignment. And I was just going from, I'm telling you, at one point I was doing all three modalities in one day. I would just go through, I'll do 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. in cath lab. And from cath lab, go over to the ER, moonlight till 1. Or do ICU 7 a to 7 p, then go to the ER and work till 1 a.m. So going through AMN, if you have that experience, you have that clinical background, you get to exercise everything, and you get to keep all your skill levels up. As long as the hospitals know and you're checked off, you'll be able to do so. So it's not like you've been boxed into one corner and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my experience. And if you have that experience, you could actually, AMN gets you through that door. It's cut the red tape. Everything that, as far as what you're able to establish in the hospital, is on you. So if you have that drive and that motivation, reach out to leadership and let them know. And if they need help, they're going to utilize you.
Yeah, I love it. Great ad, Jerome. I think all of us are just incredibly impressed with you. And I know probably all of our listeners are like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So thank you for sharing all of that. Just going back to some of our questions. So Alexander, do we have job postings in Hawaii? We sure do. Do we pay for rental cars? So no, it's not something we put into our package. Everything that we create as far as your package goes is up to you when you actually spend the money. So I think that's why a lot of our travelers in general look to bring their cars so that they have that flexibility, as Erin was talking about. Plus, you can have a little bit of a road trip, travel across the country. Jerome, do you usually fly to your assignments or do you drive your car?
So in the beginning of time, I would drive. I think I drove from Miami to Iowa City when I was working at the University of Iowa. And then I drove from Iowa down to New Mexico. And I think that was the last time I ever drove. So no driving for me. If it's more than 2 hours, I'm on a plane. And that's that for me.
I love it. So you definitely find your own path, especially as you continue in travel nursing. All right. So may I ask which states have agreements with Canada? I don't have the entire list, Alexander, or I'm sorry, Alexander, but you can reach out to one of our recruiters. I'll be more than happy to help you. I know Arizona and Minnesota are some of the ones that come up at the top of my mind, but we can definitely answer those questions. How does travel contract work as a CNA? So that's actually our allied division. Works very similarly, but kind of a different area within AMN. We can definitely help you though, Crystal. So feel free to direct message us and we can get you connected to a recruiter. Marco, it's a great question. What are we doing to support natural immunity in regards to COVID? So I'll kind of throw this question over to Allison just to talk about how our clients are managing through. I would say kind of high level. As a company overall, as a healthcare company overall, it's our responsibility to follow whatever the CDC guidelines and recommendations are. We also follow what the needs and wants of our clients are. But from the recruitment perspective, if vaccination or any of that is something that you have questions on, or maybe you don't want to get vaccinated, our job is to help support you with facilities that will accept whatever that status is. So we can help you navigate what makes the most sense. But Allison, I don't know if you want to add anything there from the client perspective.
Sure. So Saundra, what you outlined is that, we follow what the client's requirements are is exactly what I would say. So across Kaiser Permanente, they do require their travelers be fully vaccinated, and depending on the CD recommendations for if you're eligible for a booster or not, Kaiser does require that travelers also be boosted.
Perfect.
So, but each client is different. And I think per Saundra's kind of note a minute ago, I think have the conversation. Let's talk about it. I'm sure that we can find a job for you.
Yeah. And I know, Marco, you asked the question later on, so hopefully that answers that as well. So Crystal, just coming back, how does the travel contract work? It works pretty similarly to ours. I am not an expert in the allied field, so I can have someone reach out to you. Mr. and Mrs. Nobles, can USA nurses travel to Canada or other countries? So not with us. We want to bring all of the nurses here. We have, as I'm sure all of you on this call know, such high demand that we need to keep all of our nurses in the U.S. as much as possible. Let's see, Francis, supposed to go to Hawaii. Let's see. Let's take that one off. Elaine, we'll connect with you, Francis, to make sure you feel supported. I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll make sure that you get taken care of. Thanks, Patrice, for throwing in. Let's see, keep going here. Thank you, Sub. I love AMN, completely changed my life. Question is, any programs or grants for people to learn other specialties to get more assignments? So I know this is something we're starting to look into. Erin, I don't know if you have anything that you would add to that question for Substance.
As far as, I don't know of anything personally in-house that we are currently doing. I do know that, kind of to Jerome's point, if you have some type of skill sets that you've touched on, there are times that they could be utilized, but I'm not 100% sure if there's any actual trainings online. I know that CEUs are typically requirements, but I'm not sure if they go hand in hand with skill sets. I know we go more off of experience to make sure you can hit the ground running. But again, if you have something in your background that you have done and it's safe to put you in that specialty, we can get you exposed back to those type of units.
Yeah. And I think we had this question here from Paula, as they're training for specialized areas. Jerome, you may have something to add to this. I know if the facility knows that you have that experience, some of our hospitals, and I'm not speaking all, but some of our nurse managers, some of our hospitals will help you at their hospitals with that kind of training or continued support. It's all about that communication. So there may not be anything formalized that we'll put into place. But Jerome, anything that you would add?
Yeah, just to reiterate, if you do have that experience, I mean, reach out to, obviously go through your proper channels of command, speak to your nurse manager, and you can reach out to other management as far as the hospital. I mean, if you have the experience and you have it on paper, they will check you off for skills and utilize you if the need is there.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Jerome. And I know we're going to lose Allison for a meeting that she has to jump into for our client side, but thanks so much for joining us, Allison. We'll be wrapping up here in just a minute, but I want to get through the rest of our questions. Thanks for joining, Allison.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all the travelers for joining. Thank you. Bye.
And we lost Allison right as we were going to jump into high demand for travel nursing. But I would say, yes, there's a huge demand for travel nursing. We do not anticipate that it's going to go anywhere. Erin, would you agree?
Yes, 100%. It's been a crazy couple of years. I can't imagine the need going down anytime soon.
And Jerome, I'm sure that you're probably feeling that there's still a lot of needs out there.
Oh, definitely. A ton of needs. I mean, it's overwhelming. The sky's the limits. Whatever you're available to do, it's there.
Yeah, I love it. So last couple of questions we have here. How soon would you get a recruiter if you plan to travel in over 6 months? As soon as you apply, you'll get a recruiter with us. They'll definitely start talking to you right away. I would say if you're not looking to travel in 6 months, it's a great opportunity for you to travel in 6 months. I would say it's a great opportunity for you to build that relationship with your recruiter so that they can really understand what it is that you're looking for and find the best positions for you. I'll kind of go to Jerome. Jerome, what are your insights or thoughts on just that recruiter element and how you have one of the best recruiters in the industry, but how they support you?
Man, I'm blessed. I mean, I have Carrie Gillette, who's been in the company forever, and I mean, she's like my best friend. I think, you know, these it's hard. I don't even look at her as like my recruiter. She'll call and like I said, they'll call and check up on you. That support system's there. And you could periodically call them and just tell them how you feel. There is also that listening ear. It's very comforting. So, I mean, the recruiters play a big role in just that overall mental securement that you would need being on the road by yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Jerome. And yes, she is the greatest. Erin, go ahead.
And just to add to that, to what you were saying, Saundra, if you're looking to travel at any point, of course, there is too soon to actually get your file out, but I never think it's too soon to actually connect with a recruiter, get your profile put on file, get that built ready to go. Because as we know, things often change. And if your plans do change sporadically, to have your file ready to go is a huge win because then you don't have to take those steps at that point in time. Plus, to Saundra's point, I mean, you do have that time to build that relationship with your recruiter. And I agree with Jerome. Like, I think the bond between the recruiter and the nurse is so important. I think that's what I've enjoyed about my position for the last decade is just getting to know travelers, becoming close to them, meeting them in person, getting just to experience life with them. I've seen nurses get married, have babies. It's just been really exciting to have that kind of bonding relationship with my travelers. So it's never too soon to reach out and connect and start building on that.
Yeah, I love that. And just the transparency that you can have with each other. All of our recruiters are happy to talk through all of the questions that you have. We know that travel nursing can be very confusing, especially as a first-time traveler, but even probably as a tenured traveler, honestly. Lots of different companies out there, lots of different ways that you're going to get paid. And we really want our recruiters to be that person to just help walk you through it, whether you're traveling with us or not. So definitely reach out. We did get a shout out for Keisha. Looks like Kelly, you're starting your first assignment on March 15th. So very exciting. Congrats to you. You're taking the leap and I'm sure you're going to love it. No, not really any commentary that we have as far as capping of nurse pay. Not anything that we've really been involved with, Afro-Capitalist. Let's see, Brooklyn, how would you, I answered that one. And I live in Hawaii, came here as a travel nurse 2001 with American Mobile. Hawaii has a great bus system. I think that's good for all of us to know. So if you travel to Hawaii, use the bus system. I think that's all that I have for questions. I know we went a little bit over, but I'm so happy that we were able to spend this time with you. Looks like we got one more. Dorotha E, if you move to a non-compact state but plan to maintain a compact license for another state, can you do that? Erin, can you do that?
In order to have a compact license, you have to reside in a compact state. So your perm residency does have to be in that compact state. If you're on a compact license working on a contract, and let's say you relocate your perm address to a non-compact state, that will get caught, and unfortunately your compact license will no longer be valid. So just make sure you do hold a address in a compact state in order to keep that compact license intact.
Great, love it. All right, I think we are at the end for questions. Thank you so much again, Jerome, for joining us. I'm glad we worked through the technical issues. It's been amazing to just hear your perspective, and we appreciate you so much for everything that you do. Erin, any kind of final thoughts? Any final thoughts or words for our clinicians before we wrap this one up?
I think I said mostly everything. I think the only thing I'd leave you with is just know that AMN always puts their travelers first. I think that's what I love about this organization. And Jerome, spoke to this earlier, but we want to make sure you know that we always have your best interest in mind, and we're always here to support you. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate having both of you. Before we hang up, though, we have one final giveaway. So what I am looking for is for you to comment on your travel bucket list place. So where have you always wanted to travel to? We'll get Jerome's first before we hang up. Comment on our most recent AMN nurse. So jump on Instagram, follow us at AMN Nurse. You may actually see a familiar face. Jerome, I think your face might be on there. So travel destination on our, your favorite travel destination on our most recent AMN Nurse Instagram post for a chance to win a travel backpack and a weighted blanket. We will have 2 winners and we'll pick a winner actually later on next week. So it gives you opportunity to jump on. Also gives those of you who are watching this after our live event an opportunity to join. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, Jerome. Thanks, Erin. And we look forward to continuing this series with all of you. Hope you all have a great one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.